There are other behavioral effects of the use of cannabinoids via marijuana, including the munchies, right? People who are eating marijuana, or smoking marijuana, tend to get, very hungry. And it turns out that this is a documented effect. Marijuana, the substances in marijuana will enhance appetite. This is a clinically therapeutic effect. Can you think of why? It turns out, of course, that patients who are have appetite suppression, potentially from exposure to chemotherapy drugs, for example, they need to eat. They need to have more sustenance to try to regain their health and to fight the cancer or what other kind of medical condition they might have. So the enhancement of appetite is a clinically therapeutic, useful effect in treating patients. There are also documented effects on both cognition and memory in particular. There are documented deficits in verbal and spatial memory in marijuana users who are in the process of using the drug. So marijuana will actually impair both verbal and spatial memory. Turns out that these effects are less dramatic in individuals who smoke marijuana or use marijuana on a more regular basis, or if they use it chronically. There are fewer verbal and spatial memory effects. Acute exposure produce rather dramatic decreases in short-term memory in both verbal and spatial realms. It turns out with increasing cognitive demand, there is reduced cognitive performance, even in heavy users. So marijuana does produce cognitive and memory kind of effects, behavioral effects that make it not particularly desirable or advisable to drive a motor vehicle or to operate heavy machinery and things like that. And finally, there's documented, there's research evidence that marijuana actually reduces pain. It's an analgesic. And it turns out that, I mentioned this previously, but studies at WSU Vancouver have shown that by administering THC, one of the primary cannabinoids in marijuana, along with opiates, you can actually deliver less of the opiate to generate the same analgesic effects. So this is very useful because tolerance to the analgesic effects of opiates develops very rapidly. And by administering some of these cannabinoids along with the opiates, you can actually administer less of the opiate drug.